Welcome everybody to the inaugural match of the 2020 Super Metroid multi-category tournament between JargleBargle and Cynan. I am Derp, and joining me is Lexosaurus Rex.
Hello there, people.
Yep, and so the categories for the first week are any percent, 100%, and triple bingo. I believe Jargle vetoed triple bingo and Cynan vetoed any percent. So we are going to be doing 100%. Pretty self-explanatory category. Pick up every item without going out of bounds or other major glitches. And we will get started shortly.
Indeed.
The race is just getting started in SRL. So we'll be seeing that on your screens very soon. There are, in fact, 100 items in the game, so each item is 1%, and you need to pick up all of them. And if you
And you need
do... Oh, sorry, I'll let you...
to listen to every fanfare whatsoever.
Yep, so there's going to be something like 11 minutes of fanfare, which I'm sure all of the runners are extremely excited for. But if one of the runners does happen to get 99%, they will be disqualified, but they can go back to a save they made during the run and pick up the item they missed, theoretically.
Yeah, seems like that would be the best idea instead of getting a DQ.
Well, I assume our runners are familiar with the 100% route. We'll see if they are warmed up. I know Cynan specifically chose 100% over any percent during the veto process. So I assume I don't think he'll miss any, but you can't really say for sure.
No, you can't, but coming into this tournament, you have to know your way around RBO and all kinds of other category. So hopefully the runners do know most of them. 100% being one of the easier category of the group.
Yeah, 100% maybe being the easiest normal category. There's only one real spot where you're in danger of dying, and that will be during the wrecked ship, but we'll see how the runners choose to handle that. But while we have some dead time during the early game and just going through series, we can kind of explain a little bit more about the tournament. So there are seven different categories. Any percent, pretty self-explanatory. 100%, any percent all bosses, which is any percent including all of the mini bosses. So you'll also see the runners fight Crocomire, Spore Spawn, and Gold Torizo. And then there is GT Classic, which is using the GT code to beat the game. Triple Bingo, which is just complete 3 lines on a bingo card. You don't have to beat the game afterwards. And then Low Percent Ice, which is 14% of all items, including Ice Beam. There's a few different ways to do it, but for this tournament, it will just be Ice Beam. And then Reverse Boss Order, which is beating all of the main bosses in the opposite order that you are intended to. So, RBO and Low Ice will only be appearing during week 3 and past. So for the first couple weeks, I think first 3 weeks actually. I think they appear week 4, but I haven't looked. The runners will not need to worry about it, so they will have an easier selection of categories. Those two cannot appear next to each other, and any percent and all bosses can also not appear with each other. So they will be... You won't have to choose between any percent or all bosses.
All right. So we're getting ready to get our first fanfare. Jargle attempting the moonfall.
Yeah, so there were 60 entrants for this tournament. It is a Swiss format, so the top 30 will be facing the bottom 30 round 1. So Cynan is, I believe, ranked 29, and Jargle is ranked 59. So there is, at least for the first round, going to be an execution gap for all matches for the most part, which is one of the reasons why 100% is actually really good, because it's one of the longer categories. So there is more time to save just off of execution. And Jargle is actually a fairly new runner. I believe he only has a any percent time on the leaderboard, so we'll see how he improves over the course of the tournament. But for this race, we do expect Cynan to be the favorite unless something disastrous happens.
And it's Super Metroid, anything can happen.
Yep.
The game's not done
can
until the big
happen.
brain explode.
We do see Cynan going for... Actually, talking about the runs a bit, we do see Cynan going for the ledge grab climb. It is, I believe, single-digit frames slower than the wall jump climb, and some runners find it easier. Not really a significant thing there. Looks like Jargle is going to be going for the wall jump climb. Having a bit of trouble killing the pirates, though, but he'll get up, no problem.
The easier climb. Going to use those tiny platforms at your advantage.
Yep, and we're into our first mini boss of the entire tournament, Bomb Torizo. He's not too hard, but he can go wrong and lose you a lot of time if you mess it up. Looks like Cynan's gonna get a real clean fight. Gets 5 shots in. Oh, he actually shot the missiles too fast. So Bomb Torizo actually has longer iframes than most other bosses. So if you shoot too quickly, your shots will miss. And that happened to Cynan there. So he had to do a couple extra P shots, and that actually caused the animation of Bomb Torizo losing his head to occur, which loses about a second. But still a really nice fight from Cynan. No big complaints there, and he's going to be moving on.
Jargle getting his way into the Bomb Torizo right now.
Yeah, it looks like Jargle is going for a bit of a simpler setup. Just going to set up at the back of the room and shoot. A little bit slower, but he's going to get it done. Not too bad.
He shot a little bit too fast on those missiles. Some of them hit the iframe and lost his head, but he is dead. And onward to Brinstar.
Yep, so this is where we see the first route divergence. We are going to be seeing Cynan pick up the reserve tank and the 2 missiles behind early supers after he gets those, as well as the missile under the bridge. So we'll be seeing that. Jargle actually not able to get Alcatraz, just going to bomb his way out meanwhile. A little bit slower, but Alcatraz is actually pretty tricky for runners who are just starting out the game, so not too bad. And yeah, you see Cynan going back here, going to be picking up this reserve tank, as well as the missiles behind it. And that is how you know he is doing 100%. In case he forgot, that could happen.
%100% is not the only one that gets this reserve tank, though. But it is one of the only one.
That is true. You will see runners pick up the reserve tank in RBO, which we might be seeing a little bit later, but because of the veto system, there's a good chance we don't see very much RBO during the group stages.
Indeed, everybody can just veto RBO out if they're not comfortable with it.
Yeah, since RBO and low ice can't appear in the same week, we will most likely be seeing them both vetoed most races. And then during the playoffs, when all 7 categories are available, we'll have to see some of the runners that maybe aren't comfortable with them have to choose between one or the other. So then we might be seeing more RBO and low ice. I would expect more RBO than low ice, but we'll see what happens. No, Jargle did not get the mock ball to early supers. I'm not actually sure if he went for it. I think he just went for the missile under the bridge. The time he jumped too early and bonked on the ceiling. Going for the
Yeah, he
backup.
did.
Looked like he got the backup, but he backed off of it. I don't think he thought he made it.
I don't
Oh,
think
that was
that was the
close.
backup, fortunately.
Yeah, he just didn't quite get enough speed to make it all the way across the crumble blocks. Now, you might have seen Cynan not pick up the charge missile, and if you're familiar with the game, but maybe not familiar with the route, you might know there's also a missile in the room he just left, the Green Hill Zone. You'll notice he didn't pick either of those up. He will be going back around Brinstar to pick them up later. It is faster to pick them up later, so no worries. He knows what he's doing. Everything is fine.
And knowing is half the battle. Alright, Cynan getting into Red Brinstar. Will most likely head downstairs to go fight the Kraid.
Yeah, there is a slight route divergence with 100%. Some runners opt to go get alpha power bombs early. It's not very often that you see people do it, and I think it comes out to being a little bit slower, but some people like to have the early power bombs in order to pick up the Kraid missile and do a couple other tricks with power bombs early. Because without picking up the alpha power bombs, you will have to visit Kraid's lair twice in order to pick up the missile. Whereas Cynan will visit it once to get Varia, and will have to visit it again because he doesn't have power bombs right now. Meanwhile, Jargle's picked up his early stuff from the early supers area and is going down to charge. He's a bit behind. I think Lexa might have crashed or something. We'll see when she gets back. No need to worry though. We are also seeing Jargle actually pick up the Spore Spawn supers early too. Of course, Cynan. Oh, are we here? Is it us?
Oh, is this the bot?
Is that the bot? Hello. It's us
Hello,
again.
people.
We're here.
Can you hear us?
All right, so we gotta let's catch up a bit. What's all happened? It's been a lot. So
What has happened?
I'm not gonna talk too much about Cynan. He's been doing pretty normal 100% stuff, just going for the normal early grapple route. He's been playing really well, don't get me wrong, but Jargle is actually doing things a lot more interesting, and I think part of it is because he has a lot more experience with randomizer than the actual game. So we saw him going up, get alpha power bombs, and then actually went to get beta power bombs and all the way up to gauntlet to clear that early. Then did a pretty standard early grapple route where he also picked up the items, or he picked up the Bubble Mountain missile and all the items at Wreck Ship Reserve, and now is going to, yeah, after leaving Norfair, he went to pick up X-Ray, and it looks like now he's going to do the Burnstar cleanup. So you can see him really just picking up items as early as possible, just to make sure he gets everything, which I actually don't dislike that. If you aren't as experienced with the game or the routes, just making sure any route where you get all of the items is a good route. And that's what we see Jargle doing right now.
It's a good route, but it can always be improved upon, as we see Cynan using definitely one of the more common route. It's gonna get all the items a little bit faster, a little bit better.
Yep, so we saw him going to pick up some of the items in Big Pink. Now he's going over to Edacoon's to grab those items.
And not falling into the pit.
Nope,
Good
not
on.
gonna be visiting the Decora today. Well, he has another chance, potentially.
Don't wish that on anybody. That's not a good thing to wish. Little birdie. And Cynan going upstairs into Meridia. Gonna get this swimsuit ready.
Gonna get that nice spark up Main Street. There's a couple different ways you can do that spark. The intended way, of course, is from a different room. He's going to do the slightly easier spark from that little edge that leads to below Mount Everest. You can also do one from the bottom of the room, but it requires I believe, a stutter 3-tap or better.
That's a stutter 2-tap works, I believe.
I don't know. My taps are really bad, so I usually do more than necessary. But No one cares about me. We only care about the runners.
People's connection were severed. Everything was drawn in the wind.
Yeah, something like that. See if Jargle can get this mock ball out. It's a little bit tricky. But missing it means you fall all the way down the room, which is not good. With high jump, he can't quite do a full jump. Looks like he gets it, though. Nice job.
Very nice tiny mock ball from Jargle, indeed. And we see the crab missile. All hail the crabs.
Alright. I can get down with that. Ooh, Jargle barely not visiting the bird there. Just got his speed echoes right after crossing the blocks. He's all good though.
And gonna go upstairs for Cynan, the place that nobody goes to. Too slow. Oof, missing that. Getting hit by a crab. Good thing 100% has so many tanks.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons Jargle's doing the route he's doing, because he'll have a lot of E-tanks for wreck ships. So that one dangerous part I talked about, which you might have seen Cynan do if you were paying attention, the spiky room of death in order to get the wreck ship E-tank.
I mean, that name alone tells you what you're gonna face in this room.
Yep, there are spikes and there are death. But
There's
luckily Cynan was able to avoid it all. And Jargle will have a lot more energy. I don't know why he's doing the wave gate glitch and not just using wave beam, but that's some more rando muscle memory for you.
Did he get it first try? He did. Damn, pretty good on him.
Yeah, well done.
Very nice. Oh, Cynan. Not quite getting the split on there. Would it falling in? And we are about to see the best snack getting what he deserves.
Yep, he's turning his spazer beam back off in order to use the X Factor on Botwoon. We'll see if he can get a nice one round.
I would be thinking that he would just use That's an interesting setup.
Well, normally what high level hundo runners do, not saying Cynan isn't, but like top like world record runners, they use Doppler strats on Fantoon and then turn spazer and usually ice, since they do early ice, off in order to do X Factors on Dragon and Votwoon.
Yeah. He has a lot of supers though. He could have just like 10 supered him.
That is true, but he wants to X Factor Dragon because trying to get a good Dragon fight without X Factors is not fun.
That is
Jargle having a
very
little bit of
true.
trouble with this spark here. He keeps not quite inputting the left in order to spark to the left.
Yeah. It's a thing with this spark in particular.
Yeah, we've seen many people struggle with this. And I think we've all struggled with it too in casual playthroughs. Maybe other people don't do silly stuff like this in casual runs. I don't know.
Casual? What do you take me for?
I would never call you a casual. And you see that X Factor doing an extra, I think he got 2 particles in, so 600 damage to Dragon. And that makes it a lot easier to get a 3-spark Dragon.
Oh no, he got grabbed right away, unfortunately. Because He had a very nice pattern there, getting the goop early on.
Alright, Dragon should be about dead. Just gonna finish the fight off with super missiles, and there it is.
Not quite getting the spark. Super right in the face, right in the belly. Ooh, that was the right. I think he got the wrong subpixel in that spike suit.
Not sure. So Jargle, he's done with his Brinstar cleanup, is going to clean up Retro Brinstar as well, it looks like. And I assume he goes from there to Wrecked Ship, and then he only needs to worry about Meridia and Lower Norfair. He's got all the items everywhere else. So nice route, I suppose. Gets all of the items out of the way early.
I mean, it's
Hopefully.
an homebrew route, but it works. It works out. It checks out. As long as he gets all the items, that's all you need.
Yep.
Gotta get all of them items.
Gotta get all them items.
Gotta catch them all. That's what I wanted to say. And we're gonna see the very boring Meridia pickup of boats and bit. Really unfortunate.
Yeah, without Screw Attack, Jargle does basically have to Shine Spark up. Or he can do this, wall jump up and power bomb the block. That works
Or
too.
just bomb the block, period.
Yeah, but the power bomb's a little bit easier, so he's gonna go with that. Doesn't need to be pressed up against the block for it to work.
A little bit laggier. Ooh, not going to the jump on the invisible bridge.
And he gets it.
Gotta catch all them EVs, Skip. And Billy Mays. But wait, there's more. Well, Cynan's getting his power bomb. And the best item in the game. Let's see if Cynan knows a couple of those definitely needed spring ball strategies.
Yep. But first, of course, he has to wait through this nice little... Would you call this a cutscene? I would call it a cutscene.
I would call it a cutscene, but you can still do some gameplay through it, so it's not technically a cutscene.
Well, I mean, you think like in games like Half-Life, you can move during cutscenes. It's like that. It's still a cutscene. You can't do anything until it's finished.
To me, a cutscene, you lose control of the character.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In Half-Life, you don't lose control of the character during cutscenes.
Then it is not a cutscene. Alright, so Jargle is gonna get into this room without Ice Beam. So he's gonna have to do...
Looks like he's just gonna power bomb the goo.
That's a possibility, yep.
It's also easier to charge a Shine Spark running to the left and then jump to the right with speed echoes, so you can get past the goo. But you can also just kill them and then jump past no problem, which Jargle is going to do.
Or you can do damage boosting.
That's also an option, but it's pretty difficult to get all the inputs to damage boost without accidentally sparking.
Indeed. It's a hard trick to do, but it's doable.
Yep.
Ooh, Cynan losing his jump there. Gonna fall down to the ground.
And so Jargle gonna pick up the 230 missiles. I'm not sure how many missiles he has right now. I think it's like 140 or something like that.
I would say
We'll see
something like that
soon.
is a pretty good assumption.
Yeah, because it's just Lower Norfair, Meridia, and Rick Ship. Might be more than 140. Might be closer to like 160. I guess we'll see shortly, because I imagine he's going to ship refill.
Let's see if he grabs that map. He does
Yeah,
not.
I'm sticking with 140, even though I don't think that's right. He's got to go get this item first.
145.
Cafeteria Power Bomb.
I'm saying 145. Let's see if he recharge. Well, he might not recharge. Oof.
Well, he wants the Cafeteria Power Bombs first, and then he's going to recharge.
So he got Gauntlet already. Boat missile there. Because I wasn't looking at that, unfortunately. Cynan getting the second best beam in the game.
What's the best beam in the game?
Obviously, Spazer.
True.
Jeez. You have to ask that one?
I
What is
mean, I
wrong with
knew
you?
the answer. I just wanted to know if you did too.
Oh,
Obviously.
really now?
Uh-huh.
Alright. So, down he goes for another trip to
Oh,
Gab.
130. Huh. Thought it would have been more.
Huh. So you win, but still.
Yeah, I was closer, so I win. I win the whole tournament.
Damn you. Damn you, next time. Next year.
Well, there wasn't a tournament last year. I think it'll be in 2 years, so. For the next 2 years, I'll be the undisputed champion.
Oh,
Clearly.
yeah. Undisputed.
Alright, so we now see Jargle going over to Wrecked Ship. So he's just gonna spark across the moat and try to get the missile as well. You can also just grapple. He doesn't really need to Shine Spark. But he's gonna go for the Shine Spark anyways.
Ooh, misses it. Actually, not going for the grapple. That's interesting. He really wants the shine spark. Oh, ceiling. You really gotta make those input very fast. And now he remembers, I have grapple.
Yep, so this just goes along with what we've been talking about, where he might not have the route memorized, so he's not used to what all he has here. Gotta be careful not to fall in the water. He's good though. Grapple physics are pretty strange. That was... Yeah,
well,
went a
grapple
lot of
physics are
different
the
directions.
strangest thing in this game. They make no sense whatsoever.
He was flying around.
Tornado. Charge beam is not the best beam because it can be replaced by just supers.
Yeah, you can't replace
come-
Phaser with anything. It's not a beam, it's a
No,
way
you
of life.
can't. Spazer is just great. It's Spazer after all. Greatest beam ever. Alright. Unfortunately, people, I was not planning for this to be a 100%. And I'm gonna have to go early. Gonna leave you with the capable Dirt to finish this race commentary. So
That's
thank
me.
you for having me on the air for now. And let's hope this race is gonna finish pretty nicely.
Yep.
Good luck, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, I haven't been talking too much about Cynan, but he has been having a pretty solid run so far. Not totally sure where he is relative to his splits, but he's making nice pace, it looks like. Just going off my own splits, which are really slow. He's on like a 126 pace, which would be a PB for him, but that does require a pretty fast lower Norfair. I don't know how he is going to do all of that. And my knowledge of 100%, at least my knowledge of how fast, like what kind of pace the runner is on in 100%, is definitely not as good as some other categories, but he's making, I would imagine he's on close to PB pace, if not PB pace. We will see there. Barely breaking the blocks. Jumped a little bit too early for that strat there. But he's okay. Meanwhile, Jargle on Fantoon. Gonna be using Doppler strats, it looks like. Looks like Fantoon is pretty close to dead. I'm not sure how many rounds he's been so far. But overall, pretty nice fight. I think it was a 4-round. Not sure, though. Okay, I'm being told by chat that he was minus 43 at Ice Beam. So he is running PB pace for sure. Close to a 147 pace if he can have a good late game. Or 127, not 147. And that would be a really nice way to kick off the tournament with the first runner getting a PB in the race. We'll see if he can do it. Obviously, if he doesn't, he's still gonna have a really nice run. But that would be real cool. Meanwhile, Jargle gonna be cleaning up the wrecked ship area. Cynan just gonna safely spring ball over those crumble blocks. Your spring ball jump occurs the first frame it possibly can, I believe, so you will always get across those crumble blocks there. And it allows you to get that missile safely, because if you don't, it loses a lot of time. He's gonna get his screw attack. Meanwhile, Jargle going over to get his wreck ship E-tank. He went through the room we were talking about earlier, the spiky room of death. Of course, he had a lot more energy than you normally have during that section, so he was just fine. And it looks like he got through the room pretty harmlessly as well, considering how much health he has left. And so he is not doing too bad for himself. There you see the spiky room of death being a little bit more more living up to its name, as Chargle takes a lot of damage on his way back out. But he's got plenty of energy, so he is just fine, and he doesn't need to conserve energy in order to do the strats that you saw Cynan do after he finished the wrecked ship. The spark up to Criteria power bombs, and then through Gauntlet, which you saw him refill for, actually. Since Jargle has already done that before making it to the wreck ship, he will just be going straight down to Meridia. Shoutouts to Benergetic with the raid to Jargle. I think that's the second time we've seen him. We've seen his Twitch alerts. Some runners choose to leave those on. Maybe they don't choose to leave them on, but they forget every race. Not trying to call anyone out. However, I am actually calling out Toasty Muffins 5. Go next time you see him race, go hit him with a follow and watch it appear on stream because he never turns them off. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Cynan almost getting that fast Metal Pirate strat where you kill both Metal Pirates with 2 plasma shots. Was pretty close, but only hit the left one once instead of twice with that plasma shot, so he had to do 3 shots instead. But still a nice room. And so he is on to Ridley. Now with all of the HP he has, as well as charge plasma, this will be a pretty safe fight. It's really just about how fast it is, and it looks like Cynan's having a decent Ridley fight, all things considered. Missing a few shots, but nothing to worry about. And Ridley's a couple shots away from dead. Just after the end of this pogo round, he should be dead. And Cynan will have completed all 4 main bosses in the game. Doesn't forget the E-Tank behind Ridley, of course. And now he is on to the cleanup for the rest of the game. Just needs to clean up the Lower Norfair escape, a few places in Upper Norfair, and then Retro Brinstar, and he will have every item in the game, unless he missed one. Unfortunately, I wasn't really able to keep track of if he missed any items due to the issues with Discord we had earlier, so I assume he didn't miss any, but I'm not sure. It's always scary being ahead in 100% because there's a chance you're ahead because you missed an item, so hopefully that is not the case for Cynan. Alright, so I have received word that we will probably have to be finished with the restream after Cynan finishes. We do have a A Link to the Past randomizer race scheduled in about 20 minutes. So unfortunately, we will not be able to see Jargle finish, most likely, but we have seen a really unique 100% route from him, just going off of knowledge from the game and from randomizers in order to get everywhere. I don't think he's forgotten anything either. Same deal with Cynan. I haven't been able to pay attention to him completely because of the Discord issues, but with how he's been playing, I think he's gotten everything. The other two categories this week were any percent and triple bingo. I'll have to go check, but I believe I don't actually know what category QD and Mumudidi are racing, but they will be starting their race shortly. I'll actually be hopping in to that one late because I didn't think about time and scheduled 2 commentaries back to back, and that did not pan out well. But they are going to be racing any percent, so if you are interested in that, you can go hop over to SpeedGaming 4, but you know, if you want to listen to the sultry tones of yours truly, you can stick around for the rest of this race. And then hop over with me once Cynan is finished. Wonder where Jargle's going here. It actually looks like he's going to spring ball early, if I had to guess. That's pretty unique. Or no, he's actually just setting up for the Main Street missiles the intended way from that room. And he gets it first try, I believe. That was pretty nice. Not too bad for anyone who's not super comfortable with short charging. And Jargle is gonna have that. And so now you are going to be seeing him getting X-ray and then going from there to the Retro Brinstar area to clean that up. Get the beta missiles as well as the Billy Mays missiles and a few other scattered items there. I believe we actually know he has every item, assuming he didn't miss a big item, because he only has 6 missile packs left he has not picked up. And if I've done my math correctly, there are... Wait. Actually, I think there's 5 left that he has to pick up, so hopefully he does have more than 200. Hopefully he has 205, but we can't actually see his maximum missile count right now. Yeah, because there's the 3 in Retro Brinstar, and then there is Old Mother Brain and 230 missiles. So hopefully he has 205. But we will not know for a bit. Because he's not actively farming missiles, because why would he? Maybe he does a final ship refill just to make sure he's got everything. I don't know where he would have missed a missile, if he did, but I don't think he did. Accidentally uses the X-ray there. Gets a lucky super drop. I'm paying attention to missile drops because I want to see if he goes up to 201 or 200, but oh well. I'm sure he has everything. I shouldn't be worried. I'm mostly worried because if he doesn't get everything, then we will probably just have to finish without restream since we have a race scheduled right after this. So hopefully he has everything. Jargle really just doing things we have seen from Cynan, making sure he gets all the items, which he's doing a good job of. Like I said, he's been doing a very safe route, just making sure he gets all the items in an area before leaving. And so now he only has Meridia and Lower Norfair items. And he's going through Meridia items basically as he sees them, so he doesn't forget about them. The category of the next race, that race is actually going on right now on SpeedGaming 4. It is any percent. I will be jumping into that race, possibly, right after Cynan finishes. Cynan, I believe he is still ahead of his PB. He didn't look like he lost significant time. I can tell you by the time he hits G4. But he was ahead of his PB by 45 seconds at Ice Beam, so definitely gonna be a good run for him. I think he's also considering whether or not he has all the items, judging by him picking up those pirate drops. Freezes one of the goops above its resting spot, so he couldn't run across. He's gonna make it through now, though. Apparently he was minus 103 at X-Ray, so yeah, he's on a pretty good 127 pace. This would be, if he can close this out, I don't know if he got baby skip in his PB, but he's pretty ahead of his PB right now. If he really does want to check his missiles without going to the ship, he can farm the Geemers here, or Zoomers. I don't actually know which one is which. But these are the last missiles, theoretically, the 230 missiles. So if he has all the missiles, he should have all the items, because it's a lot harder to miss the rest of the items. There are no Zoomers in this game? Huh. I thought there were. We will know at the Metroids, too. Because the Metroids do drop missiles fairly often. If it gets stuck at 225, then he definitely missed one. But I don't think he did. I keep talking about it, but I think he's fine. There you go, 226. He has all 230 missiles, and that should be every item. So, we are good. Zila? Is that what those enemies are? I don't know. I thought they were Zoomers, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I don't know. Meanwhile, Jargle is starting up Dragon. Looks like he's going to use grapple strats on him. So we'll see if he gets the fast grapple kill, and he doesn't quite. You can actually you can hook onto that lower electrical turret while Dragon is dragging you down, but unfortunately missed it, so we'll have to go for the higher one, and that includes going through this animation here, which is not fun. He can also hit the lower one if he uses a diagonal grapple, but doesn't quite make it. Just gonna go for the higher one and gets through it, no problem. I think he might have forgotten a menu during the elevator transition. Going to be turning off Various Suit in order to get stand up easier, and Screw Attack in order to get the Zeb skip easier. We see this, it's a pretty common thing to do in 100%. Oh, getting grabbed by one of the Metroids in room 2. Metroids aren't really an issue. If you get bad Metroid drops, it's not a problem since you have a surplus of ammo. But Cynan is going to make sure he has enough super missiles anyways, just to be safe. Just to make things a little bit faster. Spending a few frames, getting better drops, is technically faster than spending a few seconds using only missiles instead of supers from Mother Brain 1. I think. And we'll see if he can get this, the Metroid skip. You are able to skip the Metroid using a series of complicated jumps. Otherwise, the Metroid would just grab onto you and leave you at 1 HP as sort of a scripted cutscene. And Cynan doesn't quite get it. Luckily, he actually turned off Varia at the elevator, so the baby will damage him faster. The only two things that do more damage that check for Varia and not gravity are the baby and Mother Brain 2's Rainbow Beam, which is usually scripted to do 300, but will do 600 if you don't have Varia equipped. Which is why he actually turned off Varia. He wants to take 600 in order to make the setup for the Mother Brain stand-up glitch easier. Which we will be seeing shortly. And you see a nice Zeb skip there. You cannot do that with Screw Attack, at least not that setup. I don't think. I looked away. But assuming he did the setup, I think he did. You can't do that without. You can't do that with Screw Attack, because with Screw Attack you don't get into. How that works is you end up clipping into the wall because of the frozen Rinka. I can't speak right now. It's been too long. I spent too long casting this. But with Screw Attack, you don't clip into the wall, so you can't do the Zeb skip, basically. Yeah, this has been a bit of a rough race for commentary. We had the Discord issue with the bot not being in the server because of a Discord outage. And then Lexa unfortunately needed to leave early since the category was 100%, and we had to. It took longer than the other two categories would have. So things have not been. Things didn't run perfectly, but we've all made it to the end. And so you see what Cynan is doing right now is the Mother Brain stand-up glitch. If you have, I believe, between 700 and 799 energy, once you get hit by the first rainbow beam, you'll be able to stand up. And so if you get yourself below 100 energy right after that, you can actually continue moving when the baby... Well, if you don't get below 100 energy, Mother Brain will fire fire more attacks. But you can move once the baby comes onto the screen, and the game will try to lock you onto the floor there. But if you're in the air, you can continue moving around. And so you see Cynan doing that now. He can continue moving and attacking Mother Brain during what would normally be the cutscene where he is stuck on the ground. And so this is technically Mother Brain 3. He is doing damage to Mother Brain's final phase. So that is what he's doing right now. And you'll see this this last phase will take a lot less shots than it normally would because of that stand-up glitch. And so Cynan is gonna be finishing up in just a minute. This looks like a mid 127 pace, which would be a PB. As long as he closes out, will be a PB by about a minute. So really nice from Cynan, getting a PB in the first race of the tournament. Assuming he didn't like skip a power bomb somehow, but it's a lot harder to skip power. It's a lot easier to notice missing a power bomb than missing a missile. So I assume he's... just making his way through the escape. Gonna get a nice behemoth spark up the climb. Not gonna bonk on any of the platforms. A nice parlor. And he hasn't done on SRL yet. He might have forgotten. Yeah, either SRL's messed up or he just hasn't done yet. But he has... That is a PB, if that time is accurate. That is a PB for him by a minute and 8 seconds. A 1:27:35. GG to Cynan. So unfortunately, we will not be able to watch the rest of the race. We do have a scheduled Link to the Past randomizer race. It was pushed back a few minutes so that Cynan could finish, but unfortunately, we do not have time to watch the rest of Jargle's run. So that will be it for the first race of the Super Metroid multi-category tournament. Be sure to follow the runners, Jargle and Cynan, as well as the commentary. That would be me, Derp, and Lexa, who unfortunately had to leave early. And of course, shoutouts to the people behind the scenes, restreaming the race and fixing the bot when Discord had their issues. And yeah, we couldn't have done it without all of them. So be sure to shout them out. I don't think that Twitch link is accurate for Cynan. Yeah, it's Cynan McKay, not Cynan Machine. He did officially done late. I think he did just forget. That's a little whoopsie, but he's all right. He is still in first place. And yeah, we will wait for the credits to finish. Got to make sure he did get 100%. But after that, we will be moving over to the A Link to the Past randomizer. I'm not sure who's racing. Somebody can let me know. Unfortunately, even if it is 99%, we will have to be moving on anyways, so, you know, let's hope that doesn't happen. But at least for me, I and the rest of the broadcast team will see you next mission. Or something like that. I think that's how you're supposed to close out races these days. You know how it is.